This is the new GPS unit that we're going to have in all of our stations at Township Fire Department. It's called the Garmin Alpha 100, and it's a pretty nice unit, pretty upgraded from the units that we currently have in the stations. So I wanted to take some time and just kind of go over some of the key features of them and how to use them appropriately in the field and in training. My hope is that you'll review these videos and the paperwork that I'm going to send out with the units to give you a good background so that we can train with them and use them as effectively as possible in the field. So this is what they're going to look like. You'll see that I've got them in a kind of a pretty rugged case on the outside here, and I'd like you to always use them in the case when you are out in the field or with training. That's going to help keep them protected. I also have a screen protector on there. There's a lanyard and a nice heavy-duty steel belt clip on the back if you want to clip it to something if you don't have a radio pocket. I've labeled each one of them with the number of the unit, and I'll go over some more of that in a little while here. These units, unlike the ones that we have currently, are all touchscreen. So there's a screen protector on there, and I've also attached a stylus along with each one. So I'd like you to keep it in the case. I'd like you to use the stylus whenever you're punching the screen. That's just going to keep the screen in better shape so that it doesn't get scratched and grimy from fingertips, etc. There are points at which you'll have to take it out of the case, so I'm going to go over that here. There are on the back on this lanyard, two little spring-loaded string keepers. This is the one that's basically holding this together. There's no zipper or fasteners or anything around the case itself. So in order to take it out of the case, which you'll have to do in order to charge the battery, is just open up this back spring keeper, slide it all the way down, and then simply just open this up like a clamshell. And it's just pressure fit in there. You can see that the string is between the two antennas here, antennae, and you just pop that out of there and slide it out from between there. So that case is nice and durable. It's going to help if you drop it or anything like that and keep it in good shape. So again, in order to put it back in there, you'll just slide the string between the two, the VHF and the GPS antenna, set it in there. It's a pretty snug fit, so just kind of nestle it in there, pull that string all the way back, get it nice and cinched on there, and then slide that second keeper all the way back up tight to the back of the case. You'll notice on the case here, there's a little indent, and I've put a little black indelible marker on there too to help identify it. That's where the power button is going to be. That's how you're going to turn it on. Even when it's in the case, it's real easy to turn it on. You just need to know where the button is. So let's take a look at it inside the case or outside of the case here. So that's what the unit looks like. Here is that power button. It's black on black, but it is a raised little nub there. It does have a power symbol on it. So that's where you're going to press to push the power button. All of the other functions, the power button turns it on and off. It also will help wake up the screen, and it will also be where you can do some power adjustments or send out an emergency alert to the other units. But mostly everything else is going to be done on the touch screen. So we'll go over all the touch screen functions in different parts of this video. These three buttons on top, this unit is actually made for dog training, and you can track your dog collars through, if you're running, bear or coon or whatever you do for dog training, you can actually send out electronic signals, vibrations or shocks to help train your dogs or to do different things with them. And that's really what these three buttons are all about. So for our functions, these three buttons really aren't going to do much at all for us. Basically, they can wake up the screen for you if you want to use that as the button. Otherwise, you can pretty much ignore those three buttons. So everything else is going to be done on the touchscreen itself. This short nubby antenna here is the GPS receiver antenna. So that's what's going to take in the GPS signal and tell you where you are. And this is the VHF antenna. Now we can't talk on these like a handheld radio like our VHF radios that we have in the department. But what this does is it allows communication between this unit and the other handheld units that we have. So we in Township, we currently have a total of 6, one for each station plus a base station unit. We'll tell you about that coming up. So this antenna allows us to have the units communicate with each other, every 2.5 seconds, this unit is going to send out a signal that says, here's my location, and all of the other units that I've linked it to are going to receive that and be able to display that on the map. And on the base unit, I've also got it set up that we can see all the tracks of where all the other units have been as well. So this antenna is a combination antenna. It does have some spring loaded to the base here, so you don't have to worry about snapping it off necessarily. But it also is extendable, so that if you go out into a real long range area and you're having a hard time sending your signal to the other units, you can extend it out. So this was an add-on antenna. The unit came with 2 different antennas, just a short little stubby one, which I did some testing, and this closed and this stubby one acted about the same, give about the same sort of range. And this extended, and this manufacturer sent one, gave about the same range. So there's some comparison. And it easily went out to a half mile or more. So I don't know the effective range totally yet, but when we do some more training, we'll learn more about that. If you ever wanted to change these out, there's just a threaded portion in the bottom there, so you unscrew that and screw that on very carefully. There's no quick release or anything like that. So these will be in the case as well, in case you ever needed to switch out or you had a damaged antenna. On the rest of the unit itself here on the back, I've got a label that also says what unit it is. So they're labeled by station and unit number. So station 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and unit 1 in all cases. And then this one's actually labeled 30, because this is going to be the base unit that we would use for hooking up to a computer and kind of using as your main unit when you're receiving things. In addition to the numbers written on the back of the cases and the labels on the back of the units themselves, each of the lanyards on which the stylus are attached are color-coded to match the colors of the stations. The battery itself, there's a battery compartment, but it's a rechargeable battery, so we shouldn't ever have to change those out. You can't put in regular alkaline or any other sort of battery, so you don't ever really need to worry about accessing that. I also have written the unit number inside here, as well as on the label, because the label may get lost with or interchanged with another back. So you just put that down and turn that thumb screw quarter turn and lay it down. But right here is where the charging port is going to be. So in the case, I'll show you the chargers that come with. It's a micro USB port, and you'll just plug that in, and it'll, just like a cell phone, it'll tell you on the screen where the charge is. So once a month at your monthly station truck checks, I'd like you to take these out, power them up so that it gets GPS signal, so it kind of knows where it is in the world every month, and go ahead and just charge the battery fully. And we should be able to leave the batteries in there ready for use at a moment's notice. All right, so that's kind of the basics of it. We'll get into some more of the functions here shortly. When you get the GPS units at your station, it's going to come in a bright orange case like this. Inside are a number of different things. I'm going to have some printed instructions of some of the functions that we're going to go over. Here's the actual instructional manual from Garmin, which you can check out if you'd like. The unit itself here, you can see I've got some foam insert for the unit to put in there. Eventually, we have enough space for a second unit if we get a second one for each station. In this slot is where you're going to find a USB cable for plugging it into a computer if necessary. Most stations probably won't need to do that, but I'll tell you some things about that. There's a all-wall charger cord which goes into the back like I showed you, as well as an automotive charging cord if you want to plug it in and need some charge the battery while you're in the truck. These two top layers of foam can actually come out, and then this is where the other two antennas are located if you ever needed to switch to them. So they're just kind of loose in the bottom there. Make sure that you always store the units back in the case, just as if when they came out, and that way they'll stay in good shape. I'll probably end up putting some label on the outside as well here.